Tonight, one of the questions that I get asked all the time is, how do I market my business? How do I market myself? What plan do I need to have? Well, marketing is actually quite simple. There's so many avenues of marketing. The difficult part is first off, is defining who you are, defining your message, defining who you want to talk to, and then you can decide on how you're going to communicate with them. There needs to be a little bit of strategic planning that takes place, and a lot of businesses don't want to take the time. They want to just go straight to branding and marketing. And their concept of branding is basically get a website, get a logo, get a slogan, and then everybody should buy from me. Well, it doesn't quite work like that. Is that branding is a lot more about understanding you, understanding your offering, understanding your message, understanding your target market, understanding your uniqueness, your value proposition, and then you can begin to work on how you're going to communicate with them. You need to observe what are strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats in your market. Once you've defined your market, you need to understand is that what are you dealing with? What is the environment you're working in? If it's good for big organizations and corporate organizations, then it's good for you. And as a small business leader, tonight I'm specifically talking to you. If you are a leader of a small business, an entrepreneur, or if you're a network marketer, even network marketers, yes, you need a strategy. You need to decide on branding you. Forget about branding the company. The company's got the brand that you're selling for. Is what about you? What is your brand? What is your personal brand? So those are important things. Let me say this. Once you've got your understanding of your message, you've got the understanding of who you are and your uniqueness, your product, and you've built up the confidence in that area, then comes the place where you begin to decide how you are going to communicate it to that specific target market that you're looking at. And one of the things that I did was really put myself out there, and that's, you have to put your message out there. It's no good just sitting at home, with a message. For years I sat and I just, didn't put my message out there. I had to find out what is my strength, and then use my strength to deliver my message. And that, that is basically, then you can choose what your platform is going to be. Let me say this, is you need to have more than one, less than 4 platforms to in fact deliver your marketing message, to get your brand out there, to communicate who you are and what you're about, what your message is, and how you help people. You need to have more than one platform to do that. So, I've chosen Facebook Live simply because, coming from where I was to where I am now, I'm confident in communicating my message on Facebook Live. I love doing live. I hate prepping and trying to, put a whole thing together. When I did the webinar, I worked so hard on the webinar because I had to put all the stuff together in the webinar, and I'm just like, this is too much for me. Put me on live, and I have a couple of ideas in my head from my research, from what I know, and let me just put it out there and encourage somebody with that. So I get my content out straight away. What it did for me, Facebook Live, was the incredible thing about it. I was actually, sorry, I'm just going to interject here, but I saw another couple talking about Facebook Live and how they've used Facebook Live to build their business over the years. And I got so inspired by that. I thought, what? This is a way for me to deliver my message. I can at least start with my friends and family and acquaintances and people that I know around the world. At least there's somewhere that I can get reaction and response straight away. Starting cold is really hard. And so, putting it out on Facebook Live, I began to get response. People communicated with me, getting comments, enjoying it. Somebody sent me a card. I got a card in the mail yesterday. the day before, which was really incredible. Just a thank you, beautiful printed thank you card to say thank you for encouraging us on Facebook. And that just got me so got me so motivated, got me so stirred up. I thought, at least somebody is getting something, and this is awesome. So I'm going to keep doing it. But Facebook Live is one way of doing it. Also, I put mine into YouTube because the communication ability is what works for me. You need to be bold. You've got to put yourself out there in your message. I put myself on Instagram. I need to work these things a lot more for me. But what it's done, I must say this, the more I've done and the more refined, the more focused, the more I've come back to the core of who I am, what I believe, what I'm about, what message I want to communicate. So the using the right vehicles and the right platforms to get that message out is very, very important. It will really help you once you put it out there, and then you can begin to see what are the responses, what are people saying, what are the comments. Ask for input, ask for help, ask for referrals. Ask people, who do you know that I need to know? Who can I talk to? Who are the influencers in this area? And you'll be surprised how many people want to help you and will help you when you just actually put yourself out there. So you have to be vulnerable. And today the beauty is that we have social media. Another point I'd like to make that just popped into my head as well is that build local, but think global. So, use where you are with your business, work where you are right now, but definitely be thinking beyond the borders of your little area. Think of other markets, think of other areas that you can reach into. I heard about this guy that was a contractor in Canada, and Canada being very cold, and his contracting was actually to work on roads, something or other, I can't remember, some machinery that he did to work on roads, and of course 6 months of the year he couldn't do anything, so because of the ice and the snow. So what he did was he began to think outside of where he was and see how he could use his resources to actually reach new markets globally. And he began an online kind of supply and consultancy. I can't remember the details. I read this some time ago, but I just remember that he began to investigate and look at the options and began to sell online or market himself and talk to people online. And he developed a whole nother market that he could then work during the winter months that he wasn't sort of gainfully contracted. He could then work into other areas which was more online. So, the idea is that don't just think local, think global, work local, build local, but develop and think globally. There's a huge market, and is things like Twitter and Instagram and Facebook pages, Facebook Live, powerful things. Today LinkedIn, you don't even need today a website to start off with. Today Facebook can be your website, your Facebook page. You can do so much on Facebook, and I see that YouTube is developing a whole lot of new benefits and things to help you as well. So and take some time to all I've done is, hey, I'm 56 and I'm learning, man. I'm telling you, I get onto YouTube and I look up stuff and how to get followers on Instagram, how to use your Instagram account, how to develop good content, how to run a good webinar. And so I just watch stuff over and over again, how to use Twitter, how to use Facebook Live. It's all there. It's not rocket science. The thing about it is that sometimes we just don't take the time to learn. We don't take the time to look. So, let me finish off here and say to you, number one, is that you need to understand you need to understand you as the brand, you need to understand And I'm not talking about website and logos and stuff like. I'm talking about you, understanding you and what is important to you and your unique value. You need those things you've got to understand. Then you need to take time to develop a strategic plan, and then you begin to format your message. You can't just go from zero to marketing because you haven't got your message right. It's not just about taking a product and putting it out there. There is a bit of work in between the two. It doesn't have to be a lot of work, but there is work. You need to take time. And then when you're there, when you're marketing, look at which is your best platforms to use, which is the best avenues to use, because those avenues then you have to consistently work them and persevere in putting out the right content, the right stuff all the time. And you need to learn, find out how to do these things, or find somebody that can help you. Young guys know everything about social media. They can always give you input on that area. And then is when you are marketing, think bigger, think other areas of other markets. So define your target market, but then begin to look at what other markets can you create, what other markets can you access, what other markets would you like to start developing and building into, that you can begin to increase your influence in those areas. So that's what I want to share with you tonight.